Evening. This is your host, Joshua Oprah. I want to welcome you to the Masterclass, our very first Masterclass. Come on, give it up. If you are watching this right now, if you're in this room, wherever you're watching this, you're here for one reason. And that one reason is that you have a goal. Everybody in this room has a goal. So to kick off this meeting, to kick off this masterclass, what I want to do for you is I want you to take out a pen, take out a notepad. If you're watching this, you can take a pause on this place and go take out your pen and notepad. And I want you to write out your top 10 goals for this year. Or, let's make it more interesting, top 10 goals for your life. And I'm going to give you 1 minute to write them down. Top 10 goals for your life or for this year. Top 10 goals, top 10 goals. And when the 1 minute countdown, it's fine if you don't have it all together. Just try to write as fast as you can within the 1 minute. I'm going to set a timer. Top 10 goals for this year. My 1 minute timer starts now. Top 10 goals for this year or for your life. When the timer goes off, you're going to know. Top 10 goals for this year or for your life. If you're watching online, I want you to comment where you're watching from. I want to thank you for joining this masterclass, The Power of Your Goal. Top 10 goals for your life is a question, and right now the audience, including you yourself, are writing down the top 10 goals for your life. You have 1 minute on the clock, 15 seconds counting down from now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. Now, who has up to 5 goals written down? Okay, up to 6 goals written down. Okay, so 5 is the top. Now, who has 4 goals written down? Okay, who has 3? Awesome. So majority of y'all have 3. Now, what I want you to do is, on your goals, the paper that you write, I want you to X out everything till you only have 1 goal left. If you have to pick 1 goal out of all the goals you wrote, which one would you pick? And I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Thirty seconds. With 10 more seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anybody care to share their goals? What's your number 1 goal for the year, for your life? Which one did you pick? If you're watching online, write it in the comments. Yes? She said become her own boss. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Consistency. I like that. 1 word down to the pack. Yes, ma'am. Revive and rebuild your relationship with God. To dive deeper with your relationship with God. That's beautiful. I'll take 1 more. Yes, ma'am. Financial freedom. That is beautiful. See, before I begin, if we can get the PowerPoint up and rolling, before I begin, I must give you the various definitions of goals to set the ground for why I would do a masterclass, or why we would do a masterclass, why you would be a part of a masterclass called The Power of Your Goal. First, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines goals as the end toward which effort is directed. the end towards which effort is directed. That's the Merriam-Webster dictionary. It defines goals as the end towards which efforts is directed. Dictionary.com defines goals as the result or achievement towards which effort is directed. It also defines it as an aim or an end. Wikipedia defines goals as an idea of the future or a desired result that a person or group envisions, plan, and commit to achieve. An idea of the future or a desired result that a person, group, envision, plan, and commit to achieve. I define goal as, write this down, the steps in purposeful living. The steps in purposeful living. We define goals as the step in purposeful living. The steps in purposeful living. How we sounding online? If you can hear us clearly, how we sounding? Great, perfect. See, first off, the question that's in your mind, that's in my mind, that's in everybody's mind, is why am I doing this? You see, I'm doing this because there was a problem, one which I'm actually very concerned about. The problem, I've broken down the problems of goals into three major parts. All of life's problems, all of your problem concerning goals, I've broken it down into three major parts. Number one major problem. Many people don't have goals. That's problem number one. Many people don't have goals. Problem number two, their goals are not inspiring enough, or it can be accomplished by one person alone. Problem number two, their goals are not inspiring enough, or it can be accomplished by one person alone. And problem number three, which is one we're all familiar with, many never finish or accomplish their goals. Many never finish or accomplish their goals. You see, within these problems are common reasons in the room and online why the problem persists and exists. Problem number one, many people don't have goals. This is the reasons, the common reasons that I figured out as to why many don't have goals. In this room, all of you fall into one of three of these categories. Either you don't have goals, either your goals are not inspiring enough, or it can be accomplished by only you, or you've actually never finished or accomplished the goals that you set out to do. So with problem number one, these are the common reasons that I found out, and I've done enough research to find out the common reasons around why many people don't have goals. Number one, they don't know or understand their purpose. They don't know or understand their purpose. Number two, they feel too inadequate to dream. I'm not capable of dreaming. Number three, they are not inspired enough. Now let's take a pause. I know y'all are writing. Let's take a pause on this. They're not inspired enough. You see, when I talk about inspiration, what I'm really talking about is environment. When I speak of inspiration, I'm speaking on the environment. Let's take a pause on writing. I want you to catch this because you can't do two things at the same time. I want you to listen for a second. When I'm talking about a inspiration, or they don't get inspired enough, I'm talking about the environment that they're in is not one that produces dreams. You see, environment limits or pushes a dream. Write that down. My environment limits or pushes my dream. My environment limits or pushes my dream. Also, my environment activates my goal or kills it. My environment activates or kills my goal. You see, in 2021, there was a study on the insights into the relationship between drought and mental health emerging from the Australian Rural Mental Health Study. And it's an excerpt taken away from the study right here. It says environmental hazards are important in psychiatry because of their potential risk to mental health and capacity to trigger mental disorders. Drought is likely to exacerbate broader risks to mental health by disrupting ecological and socioeconomic systems and amplifying risk to physical health. You see, drought has been shown to contribute to mental stress, suicide, and to creating vulnerabilities for maintaining good health. In the 2020 Forbes article, How Your Environment is Influencing Your Motivation While Working from Home, writer Brianna West quotes James Clear in writing Atomic Habits, saying, "We tend to believe our habits are a product of our motivation, talent, and effort. Certainly, these qualities matter, but the surprising thing is, especially over a long time period, your personal characteristics tend to get overpowered by your environment. Over a long time period, your personal characteristics tend to get overpowered by your environment." He also calls the environment the invincible hand that shapes human behavior. Your environment. Next, they have no aspiration. In other words, they lost a sense of zeal with self, lost a sense of zeal and competition. There are many people in this room and watching online who are like, I don't like to compete. It's just me, myself, and I. And I have to tell you that's actually false. You see, when I'm speaking of competition, I'm talking about competition with self, not others. Competing with self is the contest to beat you every day, week, month, year, decade. Many of us, we don't do the hard labor of competing with yourself. Am I doing better than I was last year? Am I better at this task or this thing than I was the year before? Am I better in my relationship today than I was yesterday? You can't have goal if you don't have competitive spirit against you. Next, they don't think they're required or capable of having goals. The next one, mental drought. Their mental health is drained from trauma, hurt, abuse, etc. Next, they have the fear of being overwhelmed. And the last one, they became too common with their environment. They're so scared to see outside of what they grew up seeing. And I coined this term, it's an original term, called fool's disability. That is the fear of the other side. So they have a fool's disability. Because of their fear of the other side, they don't have goals. I'm scared of what the other side looks like, so I don't want to plan to go there. Problem number 2, with the people who their goals are not inspiring enough. I just want to set the ground, then we're going to give you the strategies and keys to help you. Problem number 2, the ones who their goals are not inspiring enough, these are the common reasons why. Number 1, they have a weak background or low educational level limit that limits their thinking capability. Sometimes we don't think that school is important. And when I'm talking about school, I'm not talking about college, I'm not talking about getting a PhD or a master's, but I'm talking about getting educated, learning. So many people, because of their failure to learn, it limits their thinking capability. You cannot think above what you learned. You cannot think above what you never learned. There is an exposure that brings about a new level of thinking. So whenever we refuse to expose ourselves to the unknown, we cannot think about the unknown. Common reason number two, they are the best, wisest, smartest in their environment. If you are the smartest person you know, the wisest person you know, the best person you know, that's a problem. That means there's no mentor or model for you to look up to. And many times, many people are crippled because they are the superstar of their family or the superstar of their home, so they don't have any goals that's big or inspiring enough. Because you are the biggest thing you know. Problem number three, they are afraid of failure. They're also afraid of success. Problem five, they are afraid of themselves. They lack trust or confidence in themselves. Common reason number six, they are selfish. You see, I wrote down there, selfish people limit their goals, dream, purpose to how it only benefits them. Common reason next, they don't have the resources. And the next common reason, and the last one for now, they settled prematurely. They got too comfortable. They settled prematurely and got too comfortable. Now let's get to the one we all enjoy. The next problem, the one that many of us in this room are familiar with. Let me ask this question in here. How many of us in this room, you don't have to raise your hand, let's keep the cameras on me and not on the audience. How many of y'all in this room and watching online, you can comment me or shoot some loves and likes if you're watching this, wherever you're watching it from. You've ever dealt with a situation where the goal and the visions and the dreams that you have, they didn't get accomplished? You don't have to raise your hand. Just look at me and you can give me a nod or you can give me a sad. Because every one of us in this room, in some way, shape, or form, watching online, some of your goals were never actually accomplished. So this is one of the major problems that we face in our world. And the common reasons for this is, number one, work-life balance. Many of us don't know how to balance life. Many of us have too much work, not enough life. Too much life, not enough work. And when there's a lack of balance, our goals never get accomplished. Many of us lack the proper priority training. You see, you need training on priority. Many of us were in need of priority training. Some of the common reasons is a procrastination problem. These are reasons why many never finish the goals. Number four, they lost motivation, inspiration along the way. Number five, a major life event or circumstance happened. Maybe COVID-19, maybe the loss of a job, a family member. Something tragic happened that caused you to say, you know what, I need to take a pause on my break, on my goals. I can't do this no more. Number six, they lost sight of the purpose of why. Number seven, this is one some of us in this room are struggling with. They saw someone doing something similar. How many of us have stopped a goal because you saw somebody else doing something similar to what you were trying to do? You don't have to raise your hand. Or the opposite of that, they saw no one doing what they were doing. And a lot of times we have this belief that if nobody else is walking on this path, it must be a dungeon at the end of it. A lot of times we have this mindset that if I don't see anybody else walking alongside me, I must be headed in the wrong direction. So we stop. The next one, their goal or their dream began to seem unrealistic. Anybody ever been here where you had a goal and a dream and it's like, you know what? I probably was tripping. And so we never accomplish it because it starts seeming unrealistic. It seems unrealistic for you to publish a book. It seems unrealistic for you to have a business at a young age and blah, blah, blah. It seemed unrealistic, so we never accomplish it. Another one that's pretty important, lack of support from friends and family. Another one, the loss of ideas. And then I coined this term. It says purpose paralysis. In other words, they lost motion, rhythm, and momentum. You see, all of these different problems, my goal this year is to provide you with resources. Our goal is to give you the resources through this year, throughout this whole year, to tackle these problems. I know some of these problems will probably trigger for some of you. You're like, well, this is me. I'm probably more than one. I'm in between all of these different problems. Our goal is to create the books, the conferences, the webinars, the sermons, the video, the audiobooks, the ebooks. All throughout this year, what we're going to be doing in this ministry is to create resources that would target and tackle these problems, because we are concerned about these problems and want to make sure that you have the solution to these problems. So for sake of time, let's tackle problem number 3. I want to deal with problem number 3 real quick, since that's the major thing a lot of us always struggle with. A lot of us in here, you're not in this room because you don't have any goal. You're in this room because you do have a goal. You came here to a goal masterclass. You're going to be doing anything. You can be watching anything online, but you came here because you're a goal setter. You're an entrepreneur. You're a business person. You're a person who is smart. You are outside of the box. So when you come in here, you coming in here lets me know that you strive for success. You strive for the best that you can be. So I cannot assume that you have no goals. People who don't have no goals don't go to things that empower them. So I'm going to go under the assumption that you do have a goal. And if I go under that assumption, then the next question has to be, how do you finish or accomplish your goals? You ready? Somebody say, let's get to work. Awesome. A goal is accomplished by 3 steps. I created this plan. It's called my PPA plan. Or for this sake, we can call it a PPA strategy. Somebody say PPA. P stands for purpose. A goal is accomplished by 3 steps. Step number 1, your goal must have a purpose, an aim. You could put in the parentheses under that, why do I want to achieve it? Your goal must have a purpose or an aim, and you want to put in parentheses, why do I want to achieve it? Number 2, the next P, a plan. Your goal must have a plan. How do you plan on achieving it? How do I plan on achieving this goal? How do I do it? I know why, but how? Number 3, the A, action. Your goal must have action. Or in the parentheses, we can put motion. The doing of the how. Now we're going to get practical. Are you ready? Now, in a new page, I want you to write out that one goal or dream that you have. I want you to write that out. We're going to take that goal and dream that you have, and I'm going to show you how to use these steps to practicalize your goal so you can actually become the best you can be. And yes, practicalize is not a word, and so is a lot of things that we call words, but it's okay. We're going to use it for today. So in the new page, write out your goal again, just the goal that you have. Just write out that goal in the new page. There's enough pages in that paper. If you're watching online, you can take a pause right now and go grab a break or paper, grab something, and I want you to write out that goal that you have originally. You can change your goal if you want to. If you're like, oh, it's getting good, I need to write me a real good goal. You can change it. If you want to write financial freedom, that would be great too. Whatever you want to do, just pick out a random goal. It doesn't have to be specific, but I would prefer it specific to you so we can actually work this thing out, right? So I want you to write out under your goal, just write that goal. Just whatever your goal is, write it out. And now we're going to get into the practical workshop aspect of this masterclass. Number 1 question I have for step 1, purpose. I want you to answer these questions under, or if you can't answer the question, I want you to at least write the question down. Number 1, why is my goal important? I want you to write that down. Why is it important? You have a goal, you wrote down your goal, you told me what your goal is, or you wrote it down on your phone, on your tablet, on your notepad. Why is it important? You don't have to know the answer. If you do, that would be great. If you don't, then maybe that's what you need to first discover. Why is my goal important? I did not put this on the PowerPoint because I wanted you to write this one down on your pen and paper. Why is my goal important? Think about it for 15 seconds, and I want you to write that down. Why is your goal important? Why is it important? You have this goal. It's great. It's beautiful. Why is it important? 15 seconds. Why is my goal important? Why? Number two question I want you to write or answer is, what was the inspiration for my goal? Now, to break that question down a little bit to make it more palatable, what concern or problem am I trying to solve? What concern or problem am I trying to solve with my goal? What concern or problem am I trying to solve? Or you could put this under there too, answer this question or write the question down. Who am I trying to help? Who am I trying to help? If it's easier for you, you could just write the question down. I know some of y'all are like, I need time to think about this. You could always go back and rewatch this and take it and pause it and rewind it, fast forward, whatever you want to do. The next question I want you to answer or write under your goal is, who does my goal benefit? Who? Who does my goal benefit? All right. And the next one, this is the one that I really want you to catch. What happens if I don't do it? And under that, I want you to write, who suffers if I don't do it? The power of your goal. What happens if I don't do it? And who suffers if I don't do it? This is a free point you can take. If you are the only one that suffers, if your purpose is not achieved, then it was never truly your purpose. If you are the only one that suffers, if your purpose is not achieved, then it was never truly your purpose. What happens if I don't do it? Who suffers if I don't do it? We're still in step one, the purpose of your purpose. What happens if I don't do it, and who suffers? A lot of times we don't think about the consequences of not finishing our goal. And you have to break it down then, oh, I know I need to do my goal. That's very important. We know it's very important, but when you don't see it and write it down and break it down into steps, then it's hard for you to accomplish it. You have to take a step back and ask yourself, who actually suffers if I don't write that book? First, you must understand, who am I trying to help? Who am I trying to help with my nonprofit? Who am I trying to help with my ministry? Who am I trying to help with this or with that? Whatever your goal is. Even if your goal is merely to be closer to God. Who suffers if you don't get closer to God? What soul is not going to be saved because you did not get closer to God? So we have to take our goal and break down the goal into a form where we have to ask ourselves, why is this goal important? What is the inspiration for my goal? In other words, what problem, what concern did I see that caused me to say, I need to have this goal or this purpose? Then you break that down into, who are you trying to help? Who does your goal benefit? What happens if you don't do it? And who suffers if you don't do it? Everybody got that? Let's go to step two. Step two is the plan. The plan, the P number two, P2, the plan. Does my goal have a plan? Under your goal, now I want you to open another page. Now write out your goal, another page. Go to the next page. There's enough book. Go to the next page, and I want you to write out your goal again. I want you to write your goal because there's a connection between what you keep writing down and what's registered in your brain. Write out your goal again. And our step two step is going to be a plan, P-L-A-N, a plan. You can write this. Does my goal have a plan? Now, answer these questions or write these questions down. It will be more profitable for you if you write these questions down. You can go back and watch it and take your time with it, all right? Now, answer this question or write it down on there. What do I need to accomplish my goal? What do I need? Now, under what do you need, I want you to now break it down into 4 aspects. Under what do I need, break it down. You can put 4 dots. It's only going to be 1 word, so you can create space. Into 4 aspects. Under that, what do I need to accomplish my goal? Number 1, what do you need financially? Every goal must be financed. What do I need financially? If you don't have a financial goal, you will never attain anything. A lot of times when it comes to our finances, we don't have a financial goal. We don't even know how much we are trying to make. How much do we need? We just say we need money. But you never put a number to it. What do I need financially? Number 2, what do I need in accountability? Or who do I need? In other words, when it comes to accountability, what is going to hold you accountable? Maybe it's visiting that person that you're trying to help. Maybe it's volunteering in a service that's connected to what you're trying to do. And when you go to that place, it reminds you of your purpose and your plan and what you're trying to do. Maybe it's being in an environment that causes you to remain accountable to finishing your goal. What is the accountability you need? Number 3, what is the training you need? You need training for your goal. Purpose need training. Another training, you can have different aspects, but number 4, I put educational training. Educational training does not always mean school. It could be books to read, conferences to attend, classes to take, courses to take. What do you need to learn? Write this down to accomplish your goal. What do I need to learn? What do I need to learn to accomplish my goal? What do I need to learn to accomplish my goal? The next thing is, who do I need to accomplish my goal? Now, under that, you can have mentors or models. M-O-D-E-L. Mentors or models. Everybody needs a mentor. Or at the minimum, everybody needs a model. Who do you need for you to accomplish your goal? If your goal or your dream can be built by just you, it's not big enough. If your goal or your dream can be accomplished by you alone, can I even take it deeper? If your dream and your purpose ends in your lifetime, it's not big enough. You must have a dream that outlives you. A purpose that outlives you. One that can be carried on when you stop breathing. So who do you need to accomplish your goal? Mentors, models. We're still dealing with plan. Can we go deeper? Y'all still writing. Am I going too fast? All right, let's go deeper. Now, the next point is, what is the deadline for your goal? What's the deadline for my goal? What's the deadline? Every goal needs a deadline, a project timeline, a deadline. If your goal is financial freedom, what's the date on it? Do I want to be out of debt by 25? Do I want to have this many classes, courses, businesses, blah, blah, blah? What is the plan? What is the deadline? What are dates? Because, see, you want to write under that, why is the deadline important? What is the deadline for your goal, and why is the deadline important? I know we're going pretty fast, but the goal of this masterclass is to give you a concentrated form of what really should be a full 2-day conference. So I know it's concentrated, but it's okay. We're going to build out on all this throughout this whole year. But I'm giving you the concentrated injection. All right? Why is the deadline important? Now, you ready for the secret? Now that you have written your deadline, I want you to now plan backwards from your deadline. So you write down, plan backwards from my deadline. And the way you plan backwards, practical steps, is through this question. What or who do I need to reach my deadline? What do I need to do to reach my deadline? So when you get to the goal and you have a timeline on the goal, whether it's going to be for 5 years or 2 years or 3 years, for each year or each month or each week or each day, create tangible steps backwards. So, for example, if my goal is to get to the camera or to get to Joseph, and Joseph is my goal, and I wrote down I need to get to Joseph at 8:15 p.m., that means by 8:13, I need to be downstairs here. By 8:14, I need to be halfway. Then by 8:15, I need to be close or by Joseph. Does that make sense? So when you set your timeline for your goal, when you set the end goal for your goal or the deadline, then I want you to plan backwards. So now we're creating a project timeline for your goal. You see, God had a purpose and a plan. And the way he accomplished it was working backwards from the plan. Genesis 1:26, he says, this is what I'm trying to do. I want to create man in my own image and likeness so man can have dominion. This is the goal. How do I get to it? So God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into nostrils the breath of life, and then man became a living soul. God then worked out his plan, but from the very beginning, he had an original end goal. What's your original end goal? What's your dust? At what stage are you going to put the spirit on it? Because there's steps to it. First, I got to form it. Then I got to put the spirit on it. Then it become. The Lord has me writing about 5 books this year on teaching about becoming. I can't wait to release that to the public. Becoming. And man became. What is this becoming? There's a steps to it. God had to go through the forming. Then he breathed, and then there was a becoming. The becoming seemed to be the end finalized detail of completion that God intended from the very beginning. Your goals can never become if you don't learn to plan backwards from the end. So create tasks for your plan, had a date and a time with it. If we were doing an all-day conference, I would have had you take a pause right now and share the dates and plan with your accountability partner, but we're not going to do that. But if you're watching online, whenever you do go home, I want you to go back and play this video with your accountability partner, and I want you to stop and take a pause and now share the timeline. I want you to actually sit down with your partner. For those of you who are in a relationship, you could do it with your girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, and you say, hey, baby, this is the goal that we're trying to get to. Now let's work backwards. For example, if I'm trying to be financially free by 30, then that means by 25 or even now, I need to know what are my actual debt. Many of us, we want to be financially free, but we don't know how much in debt are we. How much deep am I in the hole? Do I just need 10,000? Do I need 5,000? Do I need 50,000? And then let's go deeper. Can my loans be forgiven? Are there applications I can apply for? Are there businesses I can call? Are there jobs I can apply for that can forgive my loan? So now you see how you're working through steps. Okay, now if my loans cannot be forgiven, can they be reduced? Can my car note be refinanced so I have lesser bills at the end of my term? Should I start paying double on my car note? Maybe do I need to get another job so I can start paying double to finish my car note a year or 5 years earlier? You have to set lines and steps towards your goal. Amen? Speaking of accountability partner, I want to give you a few tips. This was not in the notes, but I want to go ahead and give it to you anyway. You never account down. You only account sideways or up. What that means is your accountability partner should never be one that looks up to you. Because your falling or your failure can cause them to fail. That goes back for us believers, even trying to lead people to Christ. You cannot be accountable to somebody who is not a strong believer as you. The Bible talks about not causing another person to sin. In other words, if I'm trying to lead somebody to Christ, and maybe I struggle in this area in my walk with Christ, and I know that they are literally babes in Christ, I can't go to them and say, hey, I just had sex last night. I remember when I was in college, I told a friend of mine, I was like, man, I had masturbated, man, I messed up. And he was like, bro, you don't know how much I needed to hear that. If Josh, who doing worship night, can masturbate, but I know I'm good. And I was like, wait, how? How did this flip the opposite? So what you need to do when it comes to accountability, I go down some points. Your accountability partner must be one that you respect. If you don't respect them, then forget about it. They're not going to be able to hold you accountable. If it's somebody who tells you, hey, you need to get this done, and you're like, shut up. For some of you, unfortunately, your partner cannot be your accountability partner. Baby, you're not finna tell me, no, you were just playing a game. Shut up. Can you leave me alone? You just always get on my nerve. You don't even want to support me. You don't even support. You don't believe in me. Can't you see I'm having a bad day? See, you have to be, and your accountability partner cannot be one who you are so emotionally entangled with that you cannot see the logic behind their push. So there's such an emotional entanglement that when they say, baby, been on that phone too long, you don't go, did you know I had a long day? If it's somebody who you respect and they say you've been on that phone too much, you're right. You're right. So not only does it have to be somebody you respect, it must also be somebody you honor. In other words, you value their opinion. Because if you have an accountability partner who their opinion is not valuable to you, it's going to go in through 1 year and out the other. Lastly, your accountability partner must not be one you've gotten too common with. can't be my accountability partner. We're doing the same thing. It's my man. We need to both do better. No, we don't. We need to find somebody who is doing better. Like, man, we struggling. We need to hold each other accountable. No, no, no. You need to find somebody who's not struggling. You're still living in sin. Find somebody who is not. Like, we got to push each other. Man, I can't believe we both messing up. No, we both need to find somebody who's not. Everybody not messing up. Somebody doing it right. I mean, you know, both of our ministries are struggling. No, find somebody who not. All right, that's enough on accountability partner. Step number 3. Action or motion. Y'all ready for this? It's just helping anybody. Good. Action or motion. Action or motion. Action or motion. I want you to write this down. No planned course of action will move if I don't move. No plan or course of action will move if I don't move. No plan or course of action. Let me spell course. I know I got an accent. C-O-U-R-S-E. No plan or course of action will move if I don't move. You see, motion activates mental faculty. And when I say motion, brothers and sisters, I mean literally motion. Literally motion. Today, I was working on my laptop in the computer room, and after I was working on my laptop, if anybody saw me, they'll probably thought I was very weird. With a full backpack on and my full outfit on, I went to the gym, and I just did some sets. Just to think. It was just a thinking thing. I went in full gym dress clothes. I just went there just because I needed to think. Yeah. You see, Dr. Scott McGinnis, an instructor in neurology at Harvard Medical School, connects body motion with memory and thinking skills, saying exercise boosts your memory and thinking skills both directly and indirectly. It acts directly on the body by stimulating physiological changes such as reductions in insulin resistance and inflammation, along with encouraging production of growth factors, chemicals that affect the growth of new blood vessels in the brain, and even the abundance, survival, and overall health of new brain cells. Exercise. Somebody say motion. You see, many studies have suggested that the parts of the brain that control thinking and memory are larger in volume in people who exercise than in people who don't. I'm not talking about being fat or skinny. I'm talking about motion. You see, if this is how motion affects our thinking, how much more does motion affect our goal? You see, the issue is many of us, we feel stuck and we're waiting to unstuck ourselves, but it never works because the only way to unstuck yourself is through motion. You see, you can't beat writer's block without motion. There has to be a level of motion that causes your brain to react. Everybody ever had a, what is it called? My dad used to have this old beat-up lawnmower, and he refused to buy an upgraded one. And I remember whenever the lawnmower would not start, every time we'd try to pull it, and it would go and stop, and we'd try to pull it, and then what you typically have to do, there's a fuel button on there. You have to push that button about 3 to 4 times, and you keep pushing it, and then you keep trying, and you keep trying, and eventually, because of your consistency in motion, it then goes, and it continues. That's how your goals work. Many times what we do is we're like, oh, it's not working, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to take a break because This is too much for me. It's too hard for me. I don't know how to do it. It's not moving. It's not working. I need a break. Somebody say, I need motion. Motion is the thing that breaks you're stuck. When you feel stuck, what breaks that feeling of being stuck is motion. Jesus said to people who it had every right to be motionless. They were broken, they were weary, and they were hurting, and they were abused. And within that room of people were probably people who have been raped. Within the room of people were probably people who have had dreams and ideas and it never came to pass. And Jesus, the Son of God, opens his mouth in pure, beautiful fashion to utter the words, come unto me. Why would Jesus utter the words, come unto me, to people, and he gave the description of the people? He says, all ye who are heavy laden. In other words, I'm carrying something that by natural law I should just stay in one place. Nobody wants to carry a heavy load and keep moving. But yet Jesus says, come unto me, all ye who are labor and heavy laden. It is your motion that will bring about the rest. And I will give you rest. You need motion for your goals. You need motion for your dream. You need motion for your purpose. You need motion for your vision. Sometimes you really just got to get up. Sometimes I get in my car and I just drive. And I stop in the middle of the road and pull up to the right and just start writing a book. Every book I've written on this pen right here. At some point, the blood stopped flowing on my hand because I write it all on my phone. I'll literally stop, and she'll be like, what are you doing? And I'll stop into a gas station. I can sit in that car for 1 hour, and I just write. Because the motion is what activates. And sometimes, catch this, the activation don't even happen until I start typing. Because it's something about my hand moving that causes my brain to go, uh-oh, I got to function, I got to work, I got to go. Now, can I help you find motion practically? You see, how do you have consistent motion? Y'all ready for this? Find your rhythm. Let me break down finding your rhythm. How fast can I go? You see, everybody's rhythm is not the same. How fast can you go? You may not have the ability to do 5 businesses. You see, that's one of the biggest misconceptions about the law of comparison, because whenever we compare ourselves to others, we then try to copy their rhythm. I can't run as fast as Usain Bolt. I can't run the pace that he's running. His running is based on whatever goals and practice and dreams he has set for himself. So if I try to emulate him, I feel like a failure, but I am not wired or built to accomplish or do what he's doing. But that does not make him better than me. What is your pace? Maybe you can release 10 albums in 1 month. Praise God. Be happy. And maybe you can release 1 a year. Give him glory anyhow. There should be no comparison, because you have 2 different rhythms. Number 2, how to have consistent motion. What is my workload or pace? What is my workload or pace? I remember when I was trying to lose weight, Kenny. And I remember I took 10 days, brother, of no eating. And I remember looking at myself that 10th day. Good God Almighty. Oh, the blessed assurance I had. Living in my house with a wife that looked at me and, good God. I was like, I felt like a model. Every time I walk by, she just keep looking at me. I'm like, baby, what is it, baby? What is it? What is it? What's the problem? What's the problem? All right. So look, after I spent my 10 days of hard labor, of not eating, my appetite began to catch up to me. And you see, in the 10 days of not eating, I did not build the stamina or consistency of the rhythm of the pace you have in going every morning at 4 a.m. in the morning to go work out. So because I didn't have that consistency, the weight that I intentionally lost by not eating, I gained back more because I tried to put or emulate a pace that I was not built for. And many times the problem is when we try to copy somebody else's pace, we either produce prematurely. So you produce something that is a defective product because it's not your pace. I want to write a book on handling uncertainty, but I've never dealt with uncertainty before. I want to go launch this. I want to start a makeup business. I see Lahawa is doing makeup, so I want to do makeup too. But Lahawa has been doing makeup since she was 5 years old. And she just now wanted to start a business. I see Edgewood come up with an album. I'm about to go start my own music production thing. I want to go make my own live recording. But Edgewood has been singing since she was like 4. Good God, this is a free game. Never judge somebody's exposure and use that to measure their level of experience. Never use exposure to measure experience. We have a perfect example with Jack in here. Jack has been pastoring for a year, but he's been preaching since how old? 7 years old. I was talking to my wife the other day. I was like, hey, I've been pastoring. Next month is going to be 1 year. But my dad has been making me give Bible study since I was like 2. To this day, when we were kids, he would sit me down, which is a ton Deeper Life Bible Church. He would sit me down, and he would make me open a scripture and break down that scripture. So I've been preaching since I was 2. But when you come up here, and you see, oh, he's been pastoring for 5 years. But I've been doing this since 2. As a matter of fact, I have 24 years experience. But you get the point I'm making. I'm being sarcastic. But the point I'm making is, a lot of times we use exposure to measure level of experience. I just heard about them, so I don't know. Another way to have consistent motion, number 3, how long can I focus before getting distracted? This is where I would have been playing the keys softly. Don't do it, Joseph. I'm just kidding. How long can you focus before getting distracted? Everybody in here should know that time. Look, y'all, I found out that in the morning time, my morning juices are flowing so beautifully. At nighttime, I just want to scroll on Instagram and pray and go to sleep. And for some of you, it could be the complete opposite. Like Kenny said, nighttime you could be like, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm just, oh God, I'm ready to go up. And in the morning, you're like, oh Jesus, oh God, I couldn't stand this. How long does it take before you get distracted? You have to study yourself. How long do I take before I start scrolling on my phone? You have to measure the time. Whenever you start working on your goal, set a timer. Just keep the clock rolling. Put a time on there and notice and see the trends in your life. What is the repetition in your life? How long does it take before you go, ooh, oh Lord, I don't been on my phone for 3-4 hours. How long does it take before you lose focus? What times of the day are you mentally at your peak? I need you to write that down. Study that. What times of the day are you mentally? I have noticed that midday I am mentally drained. Something about the 12 to 2 portion of the day. I'm like, oh God. And then after 4, I have this super burst of energy. You have to start taking label of the times. What time of the day are you mentally at your peak? You ready for the next one? What environment stirs my mental ability to think and work? Now we got to go deeper on this one, y'all. When I say when I say what environment, can I be transparent, brothers and sisters? I cannot work in a dirty house. Many of y'all have come to our house. You see that it's always clean. I promise you it's not because you're coming over. We keep it clean every day because I literally cannot think in a dirty place. I have to pay for a car subscription every month to wash my car every week because I can't think, I can't drive in a dirty car. Because that environment, it limits my creativity. What is your best environment? For you, it could be the quite opposite. You might like the whole house to be junked up. No. It's not to judge anybody. Everybody has their own level of creativity. Maybe whenever you see the house junked up, it boosts get your brain going, get you high. You're like, oh my God, it's clothes everywhere. You have to figure out what is it. Somebody said, what is it? Maybe it's a clean house or a clean car. Or maybe it's somebody you hang around. Maybe for some reason, every time I get around Ice or every time I get around Alexis, we always talk about our goals and we thought we were going to hang out, but we end up working on our businesses. Maybe I need to hang around her a little bit more. Right? It could be people. It can even be music. I cannot function, me personally, with any music that has lyrics in it while I'm trying to do work. Because I found out I end up typing the lyrics. I'll be like, how to find your purpose, to worship you I live. Oh, God. Finding your purpose requires, oh. Like, what is going on? I'm so serious. So you have to be able to discover what is it, what is your thing? What's my thing? Could it be certain foods that you eat that gives you energy? Somebody eating an apple make me feel smart. I've been there. Whatever it is for you, what is your thing? We have to do the discovery of finding out what is our theme that will give us consistent motion. Now, let me bring it all to a close. You say why? I wrote down this quote, and I'm going to give you the quote before Joseph puts it on the screen. Because you have to create a routine of working on your goals till it becomes a habit and a lifestyle. You see, when you figured out how fast you can go, what's your workload or pace, how long can you focus before getting distracted, what times of the day are you mentally at your peak, which environment stirs your mental ability to think and work, maybe it's a clean house, clean car, whatnot, then you have to find that number, that pace, that environment, and perfect keeping, don't miss this, perfect keeping to the rhythm of that number, pace, and environment. We have to perfectly keep that. A lot of times we always easily switch. I found out that morning worked for me better. Now I want to try night. Why? Why? I found out that when I wake up in the night, it works for me. Now I want to try morning. Why? Consistently do that night until you can maximize it, master it, then maybe you can try something new. Create a routine. Somebody said a routine. You need a routine of working on your goals. You need a timeline. So if you say, for practical reasons, if you say, well, I am best at 8 a.m. in the morning, then at 8 a.m. in the morning, I need to be doing this every time. I am best at 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. in the day. That means at 12 p.m. in the day, I must be doing this at every day. So I need to set an alarm to say at 12 p.m. every day, I'm going to write a section of my book. I'm going to start my business. I'm going to plan more. I'm going to work towards my goal, towards my purpose. Whatever time that is, I need to create a routine and at least do it for 50 days. Create a routine of work. Many of you right now, we've been about over 50 days. You see how easy it is for you to wake up in the morning and pray. Although you're waking up tired, but you still wake up. Who would have thought you'd be up at 6 a.m. in the morning to be praying every day? But it's become a routine. Not in a religious way, but it's become a routine for you to know, okay, I'm about to log in and I'm about to join the prayer. It don't even bother me to wake up no more. Because it's such a part of my life. I'm just up. My brain literally wakes up. Even without an alarm, my brain wakes up at that time because my body has fully clocked in to the routine that I need to be up at this time. It may not be the same for everybody. And it doesn't have to be. You have to find your routine. Amen? So create a routine of working on your goals till it becomes a habit and the lifestyle. Then number 2, master it before seeking to improve it. Master your routine before seeking to improve your routine. Every successful person needs a routine. Master your routine before seeking to improve your routine. Either way, motion is required. I want to say thank you to every one of you for joining us for the Power of Your Goal Masterclass. I'm your host, Joshua Parr. Thank you, and God bless you. If you're watching online, before you go, if you're watching online, there's a link right next there. There's a link on there. I want everybody to click this code. Take a picture of it. It's a survey. It should be on the screen for those of y'all who are watching. I know this is a pretty quick masterclass. I want to get your feedback so we'll be able to help you. We're going to be doing more of these masterclass. I'm going to call them masterclass pop-ups. You know what a pop-up is? That means you get short notice. You got to move. You got to catch the rhythm. So take a picture. I want you to fill out the survey. It's totally free. You don't have to put your name on there. I want you to be transparent with your survey. For those of you watching online, I want to say thank you for you joining. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you for joining the masterclass. I hope this helped you. Connect with us. Be a part of what God is doing at this church as part of Joshua Parr Ministries and Faith-Filled Ministries in partnership. I want to say thank you one more time. God bless you. This has been the Power of Your Goal Masterclass. See you next time. Bye-bye.